Welcome to Church Pros Media Tips. My name is David, and our mission is to equip churches to go beyond their building and reach people. In today's video, I'm going to share a visitor to member framework to show you the 4 stages of how somebody typically goes from becoming a visitor to a member. And I'm also going to share one crucial mistake that many churches make in their visitor to member process. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel today to receive more videos like this and to help other churches that can also utilize these resources for their ministry today. Let's go ahead and get right into this video. So when we talk about visitor to member, the process, I like to look at it like a relationship, right? When you're going through that process, the 4 stages that I allude to are the stage number 1 is awareness. Stage number 2 is build trust. Stage number 3 is to engage. And then stage number 4 is to commit, right? So when you're dating, you first need to make them aware that you exist. Then you exchange phone numbers. You start having conversations, going on dates. You're building that trust. Then if you see fit, then you will actually engage with them in a relationship, or maybe even to get engaged with them. And then the last stage is to commit to them, right? To get married to them and to take that relationship to the next level. So this psychological process is exactly how you want to look at it when somebody's becoming a member in your actual ministry. So in this diagram in back of me here, I actually made this illustration based on a question that I saw in a Facebook group. And the question was mainly asking, was there anyone that would be willing to offer some advice about how that process works from becoming a new visitor to a member? What have been some of the challenges that your church face? So I immediately thought about this diagram that I worked on. So I hope that you find this useful. And so let's go ahead and run through this. And then if you have any questions throughout the video, please hit it in the comments below. I would love to interact with you, get back to you, answer any questions that you may have. And so let's go right to stage 1, right? So typically in marketing, you have 2 types of marketing. You have inbound marketing and you have outbound marketing. So inbound marketing is more per se passive. It's content that you're putting out there and somebody might see it and then they make contact with you. The outbound is you're actively pursuing somebody, getting the information so that you can offer them a product or a service. So there are different avenues of how you market. We call it marketing, but other people call it outreach, right? It's evangelism. It's the same thing. And so on stage 1 in our ministry, we have different stages here. So I like to zoom in on this so you can see what we do. So we have a TBN program here. We have Facebook ads and different types of avenues of how we make people aware that we actually exist, right? And so I have another diagram to show you stage 1 here that kind of breaks down what we do here, how we actually do it in our area. But basically these areas here show you how people come aware of our ministry here. And they're going to come in through 2 different ways. They're going to come in through the website, and then they're going to come in maybe just to walk in physically into your church. So it's either going to be one or the other. And so a website is what I want to go over on this first part here. And a website, of course, is extremely crucial, right? It has to be, as you've heard before, it has to be an invitation, not a presentation. But your website, you have to pay attention and make sure that you invest in a website. We happen to do websites here at churchpros.com. So if your church is in need of a website, go ahead and read the information in the description below and we will be happy to interact with you. But when they come to your website, they're going to get there and they're coming to your website because they don't trust you yet, right? Remember, they've been made aware of you, but now they need to build trust. So they're going to check you out online, see what they can find out about your community. They're going to go check out some sermons, music, whatever it is that you offer for content online so that they can preview you before they decide to take that next step to physically visit you. So sometimes they may go to the website, and in our case we have a plan a visit form where we're actually asking them to take an action to plan their visit, let us know what date and time that they're coming, right? So in our case, this typically happens Monday through Friday. They plan to come on that Sunday. So as soon as they fill out that plan a visit form, they submit it, they get an automatic text and they get an automatic email that we send to them. And then on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, we send them a reminder email that we're looking forward to meeting them. They will then meet somebody in our Welcome Connect team that will walk them into the church, and they actually go to a designated seat in their church, in our church. And so that's the process here, how they submit it. They get the communication and they visit in person. The other scenario to that is that they will come to your website, but they're maybe not going to come or plan a visit. They actually want to check out your online services. So if you have churches online, it's also crucial that you have your churches online, that you're streaming them, because it allows people to preview you to kind of get a feeling of what your culture is like before they even take a chance to physically step in your church. And many people know this already, that your website and your church online is the front door now of your church. And so that is also a way that they come in, and sometimes when they watch your service, they'll get to know the culture, then they'll submit and plan their visit, and that process same follows like this. Or they just might walk in and then they'll be they're visiting physically in your church. The other part that I alluded to at the beginning is that they will simply walk in and then they're literally physically visiting your church for a service there. And so in stage 2, stage 1, I already showed you this, but in stage 2, this is the kind of the format that we follow, of how we follow communications in regards to that process of how they go through this. But right here in this area, you notice that when they come in, they get to the part where we have a connect card. This is very popular with churches, right? Where you have some sort of connect card. They're coming in, they're visiting in person, and you're welcoming first-time guests. You can either have them connect with you, and you're trying to get their information so that you can have follow-up communication with them. If they plan the visit, you've already obtained that, which is great. This is why you want to plan a visit up front, because sometimes you won't catch it when they're physically in person. But when they get there, you can do this through text messaging, through the website, or through printed cards where they can fill out, and then you can follow back up with them. And so in a few minutes, I'm going to share with you the very crucial mistake that churches make in this process. And so let's go and break this part down. When they fill out the connect card, they're going to come out through 3 processes. And that is, they're going to come for salvation. They heard the sermon, they're ready to be saved. Now they can get baptized, and hopefully we can have conversations with them. They can join the church, right? So that might be a process. The other one is they may just straight up join the church. They visit and they're ready to join and go through the new member classes. That happens, but it's very rare. The other part, and where most people come in, is that they physically attended, but they're interested. So they've given you some information to contact them, but they want to see how this is going to go, right? They're not fully committed they're not ready to go through your membership classes, right? And so what happens a lot in churches is, this is the mistake that I was alluding to earlier. I was at an event and there was hundreds of people in this room, and the speaker was asking everybody, how many of y'all invite people to join your church? And how many people feel like the process is that you get them to join in so that you can get them in new member classes and start to telling them about your church history, about the different things about your culture, and then you get them to flow that way. And so mostly everybody raised their hand, right? And this was astounding to me, because the story goes like this of how most people approach people that are coming in. And this is this story. Imagine that you were fasting, you were hungry for several days. You go to a restaurant and you're there in line, and the manager comes up, he greets you, and he tells you, he welcomes you to the restaurant, right? So you're, wow, that's nice. I'm glad he did that. So now you're at the front of the line, the cashier's about to call you, and right when you're about to go to the front, he comes back and he starts telling you, hey, what you going to order? So you tell him what you're going to order. He tells you, hey, let me tell you the history about what you're going to order, and let me tell you some background about this company. At this point, you're looking at him. You thank him for that, but at this point you're like, man, I don't want to hear about your history and all these things about this building or this place to eat. I have a problem. My problem is that I've been fasting, I'm hungry, and that cashier's about to ask me what I want to eat so that I can fix that hunger problem and get some food, right? And so it's so easy to understand that logic when I'm explaining it like this, but yet a lot of churches don't get that. So what they do is they funnel them through these classes where you're trying to give them the history and tell them everything about what they can do for your church. You know, all churches don't do that process like this, but a lot of times they may not mean to do this, but this is the crucial mistake, is that you're not actually properly assessing where they're at in their Christian journey. So it's important that you do that before you funnel them into becoming an actual member. And so this diagram down here is what I'm alluding to, is when they're interested, we want to bring them, get some communication, thank them for visiting the service. But now you're trying to identify the season of their Christian journey, and that is, they could be in my perspective, is a new Christian journey. They may be ready to join the church, so they go right through the process. They're ready to join. They go through the new members. Number 2 is they're a seasoned Christian. They're ready to join. They come right in and they join the church too. They may be coming from station somewhere else. They get it. They don't need counseling. They're ready to plug in and get going, right? But where most people come in, most people come to church because they have some sort of challenge or a problem. They're facing something, right? And so this is sometimes the new Christian coming in. They don't know anything about Christian church or anything like that. So they need counseling, right? To try to get some counseling for that issue, challenge that they're having. Or they may be a seasoned Christian in the sense that that means that they were a backslider before. They get Christianity and they understand it, but they need counseling because of things and mistakes that they've made. And so that one-on-one counseling is so crucial to happen here before we even start to think about asking them about joining the church. You're trying to assess their situation first, and then once you assess it, then you're trying to build that trust so that they can get to that part where they engage. And you're never going to get them to go to the engage part right here if you first don't build that trust through that counseling. So this is a mistake that you don't want to make in your visitor to member framework. I hope you've taken a great note about that to make sure that you don't do that. How you do that individually as a church, of course, will vary. But this diagram is also, there's a link to this diagram in the description below so that you can click on it, look at it, and get make it your own of how it's going to help your church. And so I hope that you've enjoyed this video. This is just my perspective on what's been my experience from the visitor to member framework. If you're enjoying this video, you can help support other churches by liking this video below, and don't forget to please subscribe to Church Pros Media Tips, and we're going to be having other videos coming out that will help your media ministries today. Okay, once again, if you also have questions, please leave it in the comments below and I will shoot to get back to you. And thank you, God bless you, and have a great day.